In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro discusses the current state of the world, which he describes as being in a constant state of revolution. He attributes this feeling to the left's tendency to idolize revolutionaries, such as Greta Thunberg, who he criticizes for lacking expertise in environmentalism and foreign policy. Shapiro points out that the left tends to worship revolutionaries, such as Greta Thunberg, who engage in disruptive actions like blocking traffic at climate protests. He criticizes the media for portraying these actions as passionate rather than destructive, highlighting the dangerous precedent this sets. Shapiro discusses the treatment of protesters, particularly those associated with groups like Black Lives Matter and pro-Palestinian activists. He argues that these individuals are often given undue respect and influence, despite promoting harmful ideologies. He criticizes the media for portraying these protesters as noble fighters for justice, when in reality, they may be advocating for violence and extremism. Shapiro delves into the theory of continuous revolution, which he attributes to Chairman Mao. This theory suggests that the party must constantly embody revolution to maintain power. Shapiro explains how this concept has influenced the left's approach to politics, leading to a constant push for change and upheaval within the party itself. Shapiro discusses the ongoing conflict between Israel and Gaza, highlighting the pressure the Biden administration is exerting on Israel to make concessions. He criticizes individuals like Chef Jose Andres for labeling Israel's actions as a war against humanity, despite the complexities of the situation. Shapiro emphasizes the need for a nuanced understanding of the conflict and the dangers of oversimplifying the narrative. The conversation shifts to the Democratic Party's stance on the conflict, with figures like Nancy Pelosi and Chris Van Hollen calling for a halt in weapons transfers to Israel. Shapiro criticizes this approach, arguing that cutting off aid to Israel in the midst of a war with Hamas would be detrimental and play into the hands of Israel's enemies. He questions the lack of specific demands from the Biden administration and highlights the need for a more strategic and informed approach to the situation. Shapiro addresses the tragic incident involving the World Central Kitchen convoy in Gaza, where aid workers were mistakenly targeted by the Israeli Defense Forces. He provides a detailed timeline of events, highlighting the confusion and miscommunication that led to the attack. He emphasizes the challenges of operating in a war zone and the need for careful assessment before taking military action. Shapiro also delves into the role of the media in shaping public opinion and influencing political decisions. He points out how emotional displays by reporters can garner more attention and clicks, leading to a skewed narrative in news coverage. He references the movie Broadcast News to illustrate how emotions can be manipulated for ratings and the impact this has on the information presented to the public. As the discussion continues, Shapiro touches on the upcoming presidential election and the challenges facing Joe Biden's campaign. He notes a shift in public sentiment, with Biden's approval ratings slipping and the race tightening between him and Donald Trump. The Rock's decision not to endorse Biden again reflects a broader uncertainty among voters, signaling a potentially close and unpredictable election ahead. Shapiro continues by addressing concerns about the rising cost of living and the perception that people's dollars are not stretching as far as they used to. He criticizes Biden for his response to these concerns, noting that the president has focused on touting the strength of the economy rather than addressing the specific challenges faced by different sectors. Shapiro highlights Biden's emphasis on government and white-collar jobs in urban areas, which have seen growth under his administration, while other sectors, such as the natural gas industry in Pennsylvania, have faced opposition due to Biden's stance on fracking. Shapiro discusses the recent fundraising success of former President Trump, who raised over $50 million at a Saturday evening fundraiser. He contrasts this with Biden's fundraising strategy, which has focused on demonizing Trump's donors as racists, extremists, and billionaires. Shapiro criticizes this approach, noting that it is unlikely to resonate with voters and may not be an effective strategy for winning over key swing states like Pennsylvania and Michigan. Shapiro delves into the internal divisions within the Republican caucus in Congress, particularly the challenges faced by Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. He criticizes a group of Republican lawmakers who are seeking to challenge Johnson's speakership, arguing that their actions are disruptive and counterproductive. Shapiro calls for unity within the party and emphasizes the importance of allowing the speaker to do his job without being held hostage by a small group of malcontents. The podcast also touches on the debate over aid to Ukraine, with Shapiro questioning the rationale behind cutting off aid to the country. He challenges those who advocate for reducing or eliminating aid to Ukraine to explain how it would be in America's national interest to do so. He highlights the complexities of the situation in Ukraine, including the ongoing conflict with Russia and the need to support the country in defending its sovereignty.